In this video, we will have sound understanding of object and object reference, and we will also understand that how use of object reference affects the object that we are accessing. So without wasting time, let's get started. We'll consider this situation. We have shape class and one derived class of shape class called rectangle class, where shape class will have certain properties and rectangle class is going to add some properties into the shape class. So on the left hand side, it shows that we have an object of rectangle class that we store in the reference of rectangle. And right hand side, we have similar situation, but the object of the rectangle object is stored in reference of the shape class. So when we store object of derived class into a reference of base class, what different properties or methods we can access using that reference, that is what we want to understand. So consider this shape class which has origin x, origin y as data members and one constructor for initializing that object. And there is one method called display which is an abstract, and this abstract method will be implemented by its derived classes. And one of the derived classes is rectangle. So rectangle has two more properties. One is called length, another is width. It has its own constructor taking these four parameters where origin x and origin y will be used to initialize the data members of the base class, that is shape, and length and width that will be used to initialize this length and width. We have display method which is implementing the abstract method that is present in the shape class. So this abstract method is implemented by this rectangle class. So in this display method, we access origin x and origin y, which are present in the base class. Furthermore, we also access length and width, which are new properties in this rectangle class. If these data members, origin x and origin y, are accessible here, if they are not private, then obviously they can do it. Our objective in this to understand that if you use the reference of base class and that is holding an object of derived class, how it affects what all different things we can access using the reference of the base class. That is what we want to understand. So this is main class, which is creating an object of rectangle. It's assigning some values for origin x, origin y, length and width. And important thing is we are storing that object of rectangle into a reference of the shape class. And using that reference, we can access origin x and origin y. And we can also call display method because these two data members and the display method are available in the shape class. So we can access them. And if we run it, we'll get this output. But if we try to access length and width using the reference of the shape class, if you see that we find error, compile time error, we say that cannot resolve symbol length. Now we might think that this rectangle class already has length and width, but using the reference of the shape class, we are not able to access it. So why it happens? So let's understand that. So we use some notations to understand object and object reference. These are the notations that I have created just to understand that how object reference affects the access of the data members and the member functions. In object reference, such information may not be there, or the JVM might be deriving such information based on the object and object reference. So these notations are just to understand the concept that we are discussing. So object of rectangle class could be represented like this. It has these four data members where origin x, origin y are coming from base class, and length and width are the data members of the rectangle class itself. And this display is a implementation of the display method, which is an abstract in the base class. And we can have this kind of connector which will be connected with the reference of the base class or with the reference of any object. I have attached these connectors. Such connectors may not be present in the actual object. So this is just for understanding. So assume that such connectors are present for each data member and each member function or method. And same way we can have a representation of object reference. So this object reference is of rectangle class. So we have origin x, origin y, length, width, and display. So these names or we can say interfaces are present in the rectangle class. So basically these are just names or kind of interfaces without any implementation details. When we assign an object of the rectangle class to a reference variable of rectangle type, then it will get connected in this way. So if you see that the connector for each data member and member function gets connected with the connector or the hook that is present in the object reference. So here you find that all the connectors get connected with the hooks that are present in the object reference. In other words, if you use object reference of the rectangle class, we'll be able to access all these data members and member function. However, if you use an object reference of shape class, so we find that in shape class, only origin X, origin Y, and display are present. So again, these are just names or interfaces without any implementation details. Whenever we assign an object of rectangle class with the reference of the shape class or the base class, where only these connectors will get connected with that object like this. And we find that length and width, even though they are present in the object of the rectangle class, length and width connectors do not get connected with the hooks, because hooks for length and width, or we can say names for length and width, are not at all present in the object reference of the shape class. That is the reason using reference variable of shape class, we are not able to access the data members or member function that are present in the derived class. So this understanding is very useful in order to understand the concept of object and object reference, and also very useful to understand the concept of runtime polymorphism. Thanks for watching and happy learning.